It's time for From the Short Grass with Trey Schaap, a golf podcast for those who love golf, struggle with golf, and just like to enjoy the outdoors and fellowship with friends, all while chasing a ball around trying to put it in a 4 1/4 inch diameter hole. From the Short Grass is brought to you by Stevens Incorporated, an independent financial services firm with the freedom to focus on what matters most. Blackman Auctions. For over 80 years, better auctions have always been Blackman Auctions. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels. We partner with you to deliver high-yield results by managing, developing, and investing in top-quality hospitality assets. And now, from the Short Grass, here is your host, Trey Schaap.
Welcome to another edition of From the Short Grass. I am your host, Trey Schaap. The World Golf Hall of Fame now has 164 members, as 4 additional members were inducted this week in the class of 2022. They included former PGA Tour Commissioner Tim Finchem and the late Marion Hollins, a contributor to the game of golf. Competitor Susie Maxwell Burning joined competitor Tiger Woods in this year's class. Tiger Woods was presented into the World Golf Hall of Fame at the induction ceremony by his 14-year-old daughter, Sam. Sam was born one day after Woods' runner-up finish in the 2007 U.S. Open at Oakmont. Later that summer, Woods claimed his 13th major at the PGA Championship at Southern Hills in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And oh, by the way, that is where the PGA Championship will be in just a matter of months, coming up in May. Coming up on this edition of From the Short Grass, I have a Zoom conversation with former Arkansas amateur standout Alex Carpenter. You will not want to miss this interview. I need to tell you about Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels. bphotels.com is where you can find them on the web. While planning your trip, make sure you check out their website to see if one of their hotels is close to where you need to be. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels, one of our great sponsors of From the Short Grass. We're back with Alex Carpenter after this.
This is Thomas Blackman with Blackman Auctions. Me sponsoring a golf show is great irony. I've been a phenomenally bad golfer for 30 years. I don't know the difference between a penalty area and a bunker. I like it, but I'm really bad. You listen to this show and to Trey because he's a great golfer and knows the game backwards and forwards. I know auctions like Trey knows golf. I've been a professional auctioneer for 30 years. I know auctions. Trey knows golf. Listen to the correct expert. Call me to learn about auctions, not Trey. Since 1938, better auctions are Blackman Auctions.
With all the decisions you need to make about what to do in El Dorado, finding a place to stay is an easy one. The Haywood is uniquely positioned to make your stay one to treasure. Located in the historic Union Square district of El Dorado, the Haywood offers luxurious accommodations that feature contemporary, colorful rooms with high-quality bedding, comfortable baths with walk-in showers, and a spacious workspace with stylish plantation shutters that are unique additions to the stunning decor in a non-smoking environment. Make the Haywood your home away from home the next time you visit El Dorado.
Welcome back to From the Short Grass. I recently had a chance to do a Zoom interview with one of the most decorated junior golfers ever to come out of the state of Arkansas. On the tee, Alex Carpenter. Alex Carpenter, thanks for joining me on From the Short Grass. You are no stranger to those in Arkansas who follow junior golf, watched you grow up. When did you first pick up a golf club?
Man, as close as I can remember, I think I was 6 or 7 years old. My dad grew up hunting and fishing and playing baseball, and kind of just got us into golf as a way to burn some energy and pass some time. And he wasn't really playing much at the time, but it was something that we could all go to the range together and beat 1,000 golf balls in 20 minutes and call it a day.
Yeah, you talk about you and your other 2 brothers, Luke and Adam. What was it like growing up in a golf family?
It was fun. We're so competitive. Anything we did turned into a competition. But, we had fun with it. Everyone had kind of their niches. I took to golf pretty seriously. Adam and Luke both, they loved it, but maybe not quite as much as me. But, we traveled. We do all the junior stuff together. And, I'll bunk up in a hotel room and, Hot Springs or Fayetteville, wherever the tournament may have been. And it was good to have something to do together.
Why do you think you loved it so much?
I did team sports, and there's politics in it. And, I showed up to Arkansas when I was in 6th grade, and I joined the basketball team as one of the more talented, and didn't start immediately. And I was like, what is going on? And it was because these guys had all grown up together and had to earn my way a little bit, and it was fine. But there were days that you played bad and you won, and I didn't get any enjoyment out of that. And so I really stuck with golf because you got out, what you put in. And when you played well, you got to enjoy it. And when you played bad, you had to evaluate it and figure out what went wrong.
When you were growing up, your parents were members of Chenal Country Club. Not a bad place to work on your craft.
No, it was beautiful. And now going back, I think I underestimated how awesome it was. We were pretty spoiled. We had 2 courses there. And so, you got to see different shots and different types of grasses, and it was fun. I know that not everybody had that opportunity, and so to have that and the membership, and our old pro out there, John Warburton, took me in like his own son, and there's a good group of guys out there that I've been playing with since I was 15, and most of them are still out there playing 3 days a week and having a blast. So it's good to go back and connect with them sometimes.
You were a very decorated junior amateur in the state of Arkansas. You could have gone anywhere to college and play college golf. Why did you choose Abilene Christian?
When I was in 9th grade, my dad told us brothers that he would give all of us the opportunities that we needed, whatever resources we needed, but we were responsible to pay for our own school. And looking back as a dad now, I can understand that, and I appreciate it. I mean, we would go to very expensive training. We went to IMG Academy every spring break. We had, good teachers in Little Rock and then across the country, and went to some short game schools and stuff like that. But, at the end of the day, I needed to go somewhere where I got a full ride right off the bat. And I had offers to, if you name it, I probably got an offer of some type there out of high school, but went to ACU, got a full ride, knew I'd be playing from day one. And with it being an individual sport, whatever happens in the college season happens. The summer is where it really mattered. And you could play the junior events against Alabama's number 1 or Oklahoma State's number 1. So I really wasn't too worried about it. And I liked the coach there. Mike Campbell was awesome. Chad Campbell's brother. So had a good time there.
Did Mike bring Chad around anytime? I mean, not a lot of people realize he's a major champion.
Oh yeah, no, Chad he didn't come to Abilene very often, but we played at least one event a semester in the DFW Metroplex. And so every time we came in, we'd go over to his house or go play Shady Oaks with him, and he'd go out to dinner with us. And Chad was always so kind and so cordial. You would have never known that he'd made millions and millions playing the game.
2010, you played on the men's division, amateur division in the state of Arkansas. You won Player of the Year that year. And I believe your combined score, when you look at the total to par of all of the tournaments you entered that year, was like minus 82 to 84. Was that your best summer ever?
Probably not. I would think that there was better summers in there. I guess it's all relative. You're playing easier golf courses, and maybe easier conditions with rough and pin locations, stuff like that. Maybe relative to par, maybe the best, but I would say that I had better golf that I played.
When was it?
Honestly enough, my senior year in college, I played awesome because I had some goals set after my freshman and sophomore year. I wanted to win 10 events as a freshman, or when I came to college. And I hit that mark at my sophomore year, and I set another goal to win 20, which, seemed tough. But my junior year was a little bit rough. I didn't play that great. I think my sophomore year is when I won the Southern Am. I forget. It all kind of runs together a little bit. But in that following year, I had the expectations, didn't play that well. And then my senior year, really, I played some really good golf there, and I was able to get to I won my last regular season event to get to 20. So I hit my goal, and that was a good year.
I want to go back to the Southern Am at Shoal Creek, just south of Birmingham, Alabama. You beat a guy who just won the FedEx Cup this last year in Patrick Cantlay. Take me back to that week and the Southern Am there at Shoal Creek and winning over Patrick Cantlay.
Man, the golf course is awesome. we had a great time. I kind of started out kind of, nothing crazy, maybe like a, 69, 71 or something like that start. Nothing, shocking. And then maybe like the third round I had, I played awesome, but the greens were soft and I hit a bunch of shots in there and just was spinning the ball too much. And really, I don't know that I got everything out of the round, but I felt like I was playing good enough to win. And but it was just uncomfortable for me at the time to kind of take some speed off my wedges. And so I went that last day and I told myself that, if I want to win, I can't hit those full shots anymore. I can't spin the ball away from the holes. So I just went in there with the mindset I knew that I was going to, hit a bunch of off-speed shots and, I just needed to get synced up and got off to a good start. And I think I made it was like a 70 or 80 yard or foot putt, feels like 80 yards across the 17th green. The pin was like tucked way on the left and you couldn't get to it. And I was hitting about a 3-iron or 4-iron in there. So hit in the middle of the green and made that putt. And I really didn't know exactly where it stood, but I knew I was there. Made 2 really good swings on 18 and made par. And I finished and they're all applauding and, telling me, good job, you win. And I said, is there anyone on the golf course that can beat me? They're like, well, there's a guy on the fairway, but he has to make it. And I looked back and it was Patrick. Sure enough, I said, you know what? I'm not accepting the win. I'm going to stand right there. Before I even walked to the score tent, I just stood there and right behind the pin, like he was in the fairway. I was behind the pin and it didn't move. I mean, it didn't curve an inch. And it was right at the stack and it hit the flappy part of the flag and dropped down to a foot. And I said, shot, Pat. And I was really proud of him for how close he got, but I was happy to win.
Are you surprised at what he's been able to do with his career?
I'll tell you what, I knew that you had to be really good or weird, or there had to be something special about you to make it on the PGA Tour because there's so many guys out there. And I'll tell a story just off the cuff because I like you, but I hope Patrick doesn't get mad. But I roomed with him in the Palmer Cup. It was either like 2011 or 2013. And we get there and, I don't know if they did an alphabetical order, but, him and I were rooming together and we get to the room and he's got like 6 hotel keys. He's throwing them out of his wallet, trying to find the right one for our room. We get in there and he's got 2 suitcases and his golf clubs. And I had my suitcase and my golf clubs. And I'm like, dude, what does he have in the other bag? And we walk in and sure enough, he unpacks his suitcase, puts it in the drawers, goes to a second suitcase, and then goes to his bed. We're at a nice, like a Marriott or something, nice. And he pulls all the sheets off and he's got a bag of red silk linens to the pillowcase and puts it all on there. And I'm just like, what is this guy doing? And so, at that point I was just like, he was all business always. He was around just tour guys his entire life. And he was just groomed to be a PGA Tour assassin. And that's what he became.
You bounced around on some tours trying to make it to the PGA Tour. Why do you feel like that it just hasn't worked out for Alex Carpenter to make it to the PGA Tour?
There's a big difference from, playing for pride and records and, people as opposed to playing for money. And, I kind of got caught up in that, I first turned pro because, if you look at it from an expensive standpoint, it's an expensive endeavor. Most weeks you're teeing off, $2,000 in the hole. And, I had some good endorsement deals getting started. And, first couple of years, didn't really worry about it. But, if it didn't happen the first couple of years, then all of a sudden, money gets a little bit tighter and maybe, it starts to kind of weigh on you a little bit more. And I would say probably that's what happened. But I sure played a lot of events. It was a couple of years in Latin America, like 11 or 13 countries, something like that. It was, nights in the Bogota airport, sleeping in the airport. It was getting pulled over in a taxi at midnight somewhere in Mexico. I mean, just the craziest stuff you'd ever imagine. But it was a lot of fun, a lot of good experiences. And I still feel like my game was always good enough. It's about timing. You play well when you have your opportunities. And I had the opportunities. By winning the Southern Am, I got into Bay Hill and I don't remember what I shot, maybe 80 the first day, but number 6 around the lake, it was like a tough, like off the left. And I was hitting a really straight ball at the time. And I just like flushed like 3 in a row, like right where I was aiming, and they lacked carrying by a yard. And you could get up there, you could see all 3 of them from the bank. And I think whatever it was, maybe my 7th shot was from 250 in the middle of the fairway. And I knocked it in the middle of the green and, made a 9 and missed the cut by a few, but I shot 69 the next day, and that was, in Tiger's heyday. And, he was on the other side of the golf course, but he was on the golf course, the same time as me. And so hearing the roar, stuff like that is something I won't forget. And then I got an exemption to the Byron Nelson, the salesmanship club, and Mike Chisholm, my agent, really helped out a lot. But got in there at 2014 and got paired with Brooks Koepka in that one. And so I got to see, what high level golf looked like, and it was no different than what I was doing. And I beat him that week, but he missed cut by 2. I think I missed it by 1. And I think that was my first tour event as a pro. And so I teed off on the first hole, and I remember somewhere on my downswing, I'm just kind of like, wherever it goes, I don't care, because it was so much fun. And then I think the second day, 17, it was like pretty windy. I knocked it on a 2 and like knocked it like 2 feet, 3 feet above the hole, and it was like just a brutal slider. And I lifted out, and I made a bogey after driving or knocking on the green in 2, and to miss cut by a shot there hurt. But everyone learns in different ways, and I think that when I got an opportunity like that, I put too much pressure on myself, thinking be your last, and same stuff. There's some stories similar to that on the web, and is self-imposed pressure. It's tough. There's so many guys that are super talented. I mean, I shot 61 last week, so it's like the game is still there. But I'm happy that I have some stability in my life. I've got a great wife and a 1-year-old baby girl, and my quality of life has gone up quite a bit.
Yeah, you're a father now, and also you get to play with some of the guys that are trying to make it on the tour, and then some that are professional athletes that like to play the game of golf. And mainly where you live in Dallas, Texas, Tony Romo comes to mind. How much money have you taken off of old number 9?
No money. I have taken no money off Tony Romo.
All in fun? You play for fun?
No, we always have some good wagering. And he's tough to beat. He doesn't like to lose. He's a big competitor. But I've gotten the good side of that one plenty of times for sure.
You were telling me earlier back in December about a trip that you and Tony and a couple of other guys there in Dallas took down to Florida when it was raining in Texas so much over several days, I believe like a week long. And I guess he was itching to get out and play. You were itching to get out and play. So what did Tony do?
Yeah, so he had a corporate event he had to do in Florida, and I think still to this day, his wife thinks that he went on his own, but he used it as a dual trip. It was raining here for like a week, and so he called us up, and we flew down with him to Jupiter and played PGA National for the day. I think he had a function that night, so we flew in, watched him do his little spiel, and played the next day and flew back home. So it's fun. It's the perks of having his resources is pretty fun.
Do you think he could, if he put his mind to it, could he qualify for a U.S. Open? I know he's tried before, but maybe when he turns 50, qualify for a U.S. Senior Open?
I mean, I'll tell you this, like there's probably very few guys out there, even, on the web or the PGA Tour, that work harder than he does. When he retired from football, he'll even tell you this. He told his wife and his family, he's like, look, I'm going to devote, 3 full years to becoming the best golfer I can. And he did. And we were both out at Merido Golf Club, and, one of the first people at the range, and, he would practice from 8 to 11 and play from 11 to 4 and, maybe putt after. And, he's a grinder. I think the thing that holds him back is his injuries. He's, seemingly always got something that's hurting him. He plays through it, as well as anybody, but, golf's tough. If you're hurt, it's hard to play well. But if he could, be pain-free, I think that he definitely could. I mean, the concept of him making on the PGA Tour is tough, because there's guys like me and, all kinds of other guys that have, been bred to do it. And we didn't, necessarily make it full time. And so professional athletes at his level, have a little different mindset, but I think it's a tough ask for him to make it full time on tour. But as far as qualifying for a US Open or something like that, shoot, I mean, he'd have just as good of a chance as most of us. I've seen him shoot, mid 60s regularly. And that's a far cry from where it was, maybe 5 years ago when he was, kind of first getting into it. He'd shoot mid to high 70s most of the time. And so he dropped quite a bit.
Best golf course you've ever played?
I'd say Carencia and Cabo. I love it. It's a fun track. One of our ACU alumni got us on that one. We played a tournament out there in college, and then we did our honeymoon out there. And so, I always swore I wouldn't take my clubs, but we honeymooned in Cabo, and my favorite course is down there. So we did that, and we'll be going back again this year. But really good golf course, good views. It's hard to beat.
If you could select 3 players to play in a fantasy foursome with you, living or deceased, who would they be?
I haven't been asked this question in a long time. I mean, you got to go Tiger because he's awesome. Phil, because I've never played with Phil, and I know he's kind of a hot topic right now. But I've seen him, and he's just a massive person. I'd like to play with him and just kind of see what goes on his, his money game stuff, his mentality. And then I'll throw Romo in there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he's really, really fun to play with. A great competitor. If you're playing bad, there's, he's not going to take it easy on you, and vice versa. He doesn't expect you to take it easy on him if he's playing bad. And he loves the game of golf and really wants you to, if he's working on something, he wants you to understand what he's working on. And, so he's fun to be around.
That'd be a pretty good foursome. What course you guys going to play? You going to play Maridoe, or you want to go somewhere else?
We'll go to Maridoe. I know that course pretty well. He does too. And, I wouldn't even be scared to take on Tiger and Phil.
Really?
Yeah, we'd probably be able to hang with them there.
I like that. I like the confidence. That's one thing you never lack.
You can't. If you don't believe in yourself, you can't expect anyone else to.
Alex, thanks for the time.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you, Trey.
This is Thomas Blackman with Blackman Auctions. Me sponsoring a golf show is great irony. I've been a phenomenally bad golfer for 30 years. I don't know the difference between a penalty area and a bunker. I like it, but I'm really bad. You listen to this show and to Trey because he's a great golfer and knows the game backwards and forwards. I know auctions like Trey knows golf. I've been a professional auctioneer for 30 years. I know auctions. Trey knows golf. Listen to the correct expert. Call me to learn about auctions, not Trey. Since 1938, better auctions are Blackman Auctions.
With all the decisions you need to make about what to do in El Dorado, finding a place to stay is an easy one. The Haywood is uniquely positioned to make your stay one to treasure. Located in the historic Union Square district of El Dorado, the Haywood offers luxurious accommodations that feature contemporary, colorful rooms with high-quality bedding, comfortable baths with walk-in showers, and a spacious workspace with stylish plantation shutters that are unique additions to the stunning decor in a non-smoking environment. Make the Haywood your home away from home the next time you visit El Dorado.
Strength is measured not by the number of accounts. Strength is placing value on relationships. It's having the vision and the guts to invest in growth. It's the commitment to responsibly manage your money. At Stevens, we believe that our strengths build success, not only for us, but for our clients. Stevens, member NYSE, SIPC.
On the tee with our weekly rules segment, here's PGA Master Professional Adam Carney. Adam, this question comes in from Roger in Little Rock. I'm playing in a tournament. When should you play a second ball? That's one of those that obviously playing competitive golf as opposed to just playing golf and, maybe lax on the rules. Playing a second ball is important for 2 reasons. One, to make sure you get your score correct, but to also make sure that the ruling you get is correct, I believe. Correct?
Yeah, that is correct. So it's important to note second ball, the old Rule 3-3 was called a second ball. I think they call it another ball in the rewrite now. So it's important to note first and foremost that is in-stroke play only. That is not a match play rule. In match play, the opponents can get together and make a decision on the rule. Once that decision's been made, play goes forward. And
what if they can't get together?
Yeah, if they can't get together, then you have to call in an official under those circumstances, or if you have a referee walking with your group, you have to call an official. But in match play, there is no provision for playing another ball, which arises from what we call doubt as to procedure.
Even for a ball that might be lost or out of bounds?
Well, I mean, a ball's either lost or it's not lost. Out of bounds is a great example. I mean, is this ball in bounds? I think it is. I think it isn't. And if we're playing in match play, you and I have to come to a determination. You're going to have to make a decision. So if it's my ball under those circumstances, and I say, yeah, this thing's in, and you say, Adam, I think it's out, and we can't find a referee, we can't find a rules official anywhere to make a determination, it's on me. I'm going to say, Trey, hey, it's in, I'm playing it, and I play it, and you say, okay, well, I'm going to make a claim. I think that ball's out of bounds, and you just played a ball from out of bounds, which in match play is loss of hole. Then at some point we're going to settle that decision. It might be when we get to the next tee, it might be 5 holes later, it might be after the round, I don't know. And if it's determined that my ball was in bounds, then it stands, and if we determine it was out, then that your claim would be upheld. But stroke play, you can get into a situation where, and you're right, it's in competition mostly. Most people playing a casual round of golf are not going to play another ball and then go to the golf professional and say, hey, I need a ruling.
Right.
I mean, it happens every once in a while.
True.
But what it does is it keeps the player from putting themselves in a position where they end up getting disqualified. So there are some fairly stringent rules that you have to follow when you do that. So let's take the ball out of bounds, for example, and we're playing stroke play now, and I say, hey, I think this ball's in, and you say, I think it's out, and I say, okay, well, I'm going to play another ball. I want this ball to count because I think it's in. So this is the ball I want to be my score for the hole. But I'm also going to go back. Say I played the previous stroke from the teeing ground. I'm going to go back to the teeing area, and put another ball into play under the stroke and distance rule, and I'm going to complete the hole with both balls. Then we're going to report to the committee what happened. Decision's going to be made. So let's say I make a 5 with the ball that we thought might be out of bounds, and I make a 7 with the other ball. If they determine my ball was in fact out of bounds, 7 is my score for the hole. If they determine it was in bounds, then 5 is my score for the hole. Then you get into the situation, well, what if I make a 6 with both balls? Well, now in my mind, in your mind, it doesn't matter. I make a 6.
But it still matters.
You've got to report to the committee that you played another ball and you made a 6 with both balls, just in case neither ball was played in accordance with the rules.
But what happens if we didn't play both balls in accordance with the rules? What happens then?
You'd have to come up with a scenario, but the most logical conclusion is that you're going to end up being disqualified if neither ball was played from a position that didn't give you, an advantage. So if a rule can't be applied to either one of the situations, then the player is going to be disqualified. But also, if he fails to report that he played another ball, even though he may have had the same score with each ball, he's going to be disqualified for failing to report. So that's one of those things. First tee, junior golf tournaments, amateur golf tournaments, it's going to be on the notice to competitors, and you're always going to take a second to explain how that works.
Right.
Because we, as an official, you never want to see a player get disqualified.
It's also good nowadays, and I know this probably wasn't the case way back in the day when you didn't have cell phones, but now you put the rules officials on the notice to competitors, and you also put their cell phone numbers so that if there is a question about the rules of golf, you got the golf shop number on there, and you've got the rules officials' numbers, and you can call them.
Correct. Exactly. And that's done I did it at the club level. I don't know if they do it at the state amateur level. I'm sure they probably do to some extent because, using a cell phone is not an abnormal device if you're calling for a ruling, so you're fine to use it. Yeah, I think, another ball or a second ball, as we used to call it, is something that, it will be there for a long time and needs to be there for a long time just to protect the player.
Roger, thanks for the email and the question. If you've got a question about the rules of golf, send us an email from theshortgrass@gmail.com. That will do it for this edition of From the Short Grass. Congratulations, Scotty Scheffler, for winning the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard over the weekend at Arnold Palmer's Bay Hill Club and Lodge. What a great place for a golf course. Coming up on our next edition, we will recap the Players' Championship at TPC Sawgrass. Real quick, I'll leave you with this golf quote from Tiger Woods. No matter how good you get, you can always get better, and that's the exciting part. Remember to always repair your ball marks on the green and a couple of more, and I hope to see you from the short grass.
You've been listening to From the Short Grass, a weekly podcast dedicated to the game of golf. This has been a presentation of the Buzz Radio Network.